अपना करना है। मुझे पता है मेरी स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, मेरे को स्ट्रेंथ पे खेलना है।
खेलना खेल ले,
लैपटॉप चाहिए।
तो ले ले।
पता है भाई बात का,
अरे
वो
उसको
कहेगा अभी
टेंशन
नहीं,
हो
अब
गई।
फिर दे, अब चाहिए, अभी पार करके लाई है मेरी बीवी, फिर तुम्हें अब लैपटॉप चाहिए।
Hey, Manesha, your mic's on. Just thought you want to know. Hello?
Hi, Michael. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Crystal, Alma, Camry, Laura, Manisha. How you guys doing? Who else is Vanessa? I see you, Amanda. Neoma Unjoku. I think I've never seen that person before. Neoma, are you here? Is it Neoma or Neoma? Okay, yeah, Alma, good. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Okay, okay. Neoma, Unoma. Okay, Unoma driving. So that name sounds African. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is Igbo, right? Igbo. Yeah, okay, Igbo. Yeah, I guess right. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay, Kime. All right, guys, welcome back to our class today. I hope you had a great weekend, and it's another wonderful week that we started. I hope your week is going on fine. I hope you had a productive day. Today we're going to, all right, continue from where we stopped last week. We have a new topic though. So, but before we go on, whilst we are, waiting for others to join, let us have a little recap of what we did last week. The topic, what were your learnings, what did you learn, anything you can remember at all, anything. All right, Michael, where are you? You gone? Okay. Yeah, the only one that always release your camera. So, Alma, you have the floor.
So, last week we discussed chapter 4 and the beginning
All
of the
right,
lecture. Sorry?
go on, go on. I said
Oh,
okay.
okay, sorry. So from the beginning of the lecture, you spoke about hazard, risk, and risk assessment. So, and risk perception as well.
Hmm.
If you want, I can go more into about hazard, risk, and
Yeah,
risk
go.
assessment for sure. So
Yeah, sure.
hazard, so basically it means any object, action, or condition that can be a source of potential adverse health effect, damage, or harm to people. And then the risk is the probability of the extent to which a hazard is likely to cause harm to people, process, or equipment. And then the risk
Hmm.
assessment is the process of hazard and risk identification, analysis, and control.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alma. So,
Thank
who else want to say something? Michael, I was looking for you. You okay? You're
Yeah,
back.
you know what? My binder fell on the floor and I made a mess. So I heard
Oh,
Elma. So I'm
oh
okay.
my God.
Everything's okay. I'm good.
Yeah.
But that's why I was off camera. Um,
Okay.
so not just piggybacking on what Elma said. I guess some other things that we talked about were, the biological hazards,
Yeah.
ergonomic, and
Yeah.
physio-social. For some reason, I have a hard time
Right.
saying that.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
and how we go about dealing with those things in a way that is, my words, positive for the workplace.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution, Michael and Alma. So one more person. I need. Where's Mark Carson? Mark Carson. I would like to hear your baritone again. I see you, except you are not comfortable talking now. Mark Carson, are you? Yeah, I see you. Maybe he's busy. Voice not good. Oh, okay. All right, no problem. I understand. Nora, were you here last week? I know Jacqueline was here last week, though. So, Jacqueline or Nora, are you guys free to talk?
Yeah, we also talked about the hazard control, and then the
Yeah.
path human controls, as well as the hierarchy of control, which is
Mm,
elimination, substitution, engineering control,
mm,
administrative, and PPE.
mm.
So you go in that order.
Right. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. So you've all spoken very, very well. Michael, you raise your hand again.
I would just, well, we also taught the steps for a safety inspection program, preparation and conducting the inspection, documentation, follow-up, then continuous improvement and training and integration.
Okay. Sorry, just trying to see my coffee. I don't want you guys to see my mouth. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Michael, you can put down your hand or let me help you lower it. Boom. Um, so hold on a sec. I think I need to share the slide. Okay. So today, without further ado, we'll go straight to the topic, chapter 5. So we finished chapter 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Then I told you last week 3 is going to be with chapter 12. Now chapter 5. So we're going to go to physical agents. And the learning objectives include you should be able to identify common physical agents within the workplace, explain how, when many of the commonly found physical agents can be considered hazardous, and identify methods of controlling physical hazard within the workplace. So let's go straight to physical agents. What are physical agents? All right. So the physical agents are sources of energy that may cause injury or diseases. So when for instance, ambient, all-encompassing conditions associated with a given environment, sometimes composite of input from sources all around us. So what that means is when you talk about physical agents, they are carrier of hazards that cause injury or diseases around us. There are sometimes things that we can see or things that we can relate with around us or things that we can observe. We might not be able to see some of them with physical eyes, but there are things that are around us that we feel, we see, we we touch sometimes, okay, but most times we feel them. We feel them. Physical agents. So there are 4 types of physical agents. We have 1, radiation; 2, noise; 3, vibration; and thermal stress. So we're going to be looking at thermal stress under hypothermia and hypothermia, the hot and cold um, weather or condition that can also cause stress. All right, so let's go with radiation. I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about radiation, and I showed you a sticker the anti-radiation or radiation blocker for phones. So there is a level of radiation that is permitted within our body, all right, and the ones that are not actually permitted or that are hazardous to us are the ionizing radiation. So if you look at the screen here, so from here to here, they are the non-ionizing radiation. And from there, here to upward, they are the ionizing ones, that are the dangerous ones. So let's look at the ones that are dangerous: cosmic ray, gamma ray, X-ray, okay, and extreme ultraviolet, radiation. So this can come even from extreme sunlight or extreme weather or extreme hot weather. So the ones that are not dangerous, non-ionizing radiation includes infrared, um, radiation from our microwaves at home, human body heat, fiber optics, um, cell phones, GPS, radio and TV stations, waves, medium waves and long waves, all the radio waves, right? All those ones are non-ionizing radiation, but these ones, especially X-ray, all right, gamma ray, um, some radiation from nuclear sites, all of these ones are ionizing radiation. So what is ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiation? So ionizing radiation are electromagnetic energy capable of producing ions through interaction with matter. So for instance, we talked about X-ray the other time. If you look at, if you go take X-ray at any medical lab, they will not take your X-ray directly, all right, with your skin. They will have to put some jackets, to ensure that the ray is not really affecting your body. And also, if you take X-ray, if you take an X-ray right now, it will take maybe another period. It can take maybe, I think it's about 6 weeks for you to, if you need to take another one, for the doctors to be able to take, recommend you for another one, because the more you're exposed to X-rays, the more you're exposed to ionizing radiation. Same thing with gamma ray, alpha particle, beta particles, neutrons. All of these are commonly found, radiation within the nuclear site. So I'm not talking about nuclear bomb. We use nuclear energy for to produce hydro, all right, to produce electricity. All right, we have nuclear sites, in Canada, in America, and mostly all the advanced, Western nations. So some research companies, including laboratories that also deal with nuclear research. So anytime their workers are within the laboratories, they always wear their PPE so that they're not exposed to this, this gamma ray. They are very, very dangerous. They are highly ionizing. So control of exposure may include the regular monitoring, where you monitor the exposure of employees to the radiation. It can also be shielding through, blocking from the path. Last week we did source path and human control, job rotation, where you don't keep just one person to be exposed to the radiation. You need to move people around through shifts, and also PPE, that's personal protective equipment, and of course training, which comes also alongside the women's that we've already done. So extensive training, employee needs to know, they need to be trained on how to, deal with ionizing radiation on every hazardous materials they work with. So let's talk about the non-ionizing radiation. Remember, we're still talking about physical agents, and the first physical agent we're talking about is radiation. So we've spoken about ionizing radiation. Now to non-ionizing radiation. So non-ionizing radiation are also electromagnetic radiation that does not have energy great enough to create ionizing matters. So they're not like, let me just use a layman term, they are electromagnetic radiation, but they are not powerful enough to create dangerous ions that can cause negative side effects to human. So ultraviolet radiation, visible white light, infrared radiation, microwave, radio wave from radio station, so including ultraviolet ray from light, sunlight. All right. So how do we control non-ionizing radiation under hazard control that we did last week? Um, Isolation, separation. When you're exposed to all of this, including sunlight, just separate yourself, go under the shield. You can wear personal protective equipment. Sometimes you can just put on the UV cream, especially in summertime. And of course, training. It's also important to train our employees on non-ionizing radiation as well. So let's look at some of the ionizing radiation and how they penetrate through the eyes. All right, through the eyes. So our general absorption properties of the eye for electromagnetic radiation. So we have the first one, which is the gamma ray. You can see that it penetrates X-ray. It penetrates through the eye. 99% are completed through the eyes. Only 1% is absorbed. Then we have the short UV, long UV, the IR, the IR particles, and also we have the last one is the microwave, generally transmitted. So which also all of these are just sample of how our eyes absorbs the electromagnetic radiation, and some of them, especially the long UV, it goes straight to affect the retina, which is responsible for the sight, our sight. Same thing with the which other one? The high energy X-rays and gamma. Those ones penetrate and of course affects our eyes. So how do we measure, how do we measure radiation? So apart from the big equipment, we have handy equipments that we use in measuring radiation. So for instance, the pockets, handy electronic called the dosimeter allows workers to measure the level of ionizing radiation they are exposed to. So example of dosimeter is what you're seeing right here. Excuse me. So electronic personal meter allows workers to measure the level of ionizing radiation they are exposed to. So this type of meter is given to mostly all the workers that work within um, environment, workplace that has radiation materials. So they can at all times measure the level of exposure, and if it is within something, it shouldn't be more than within the recommended exposure at all times. So the second agent we're going to look at is noise. Yes, noise is also a physical agent. All right. So what is noise? Noise is different from sound. Okay. Noise is a sound, but the type of sound that noises is unpleasant sound, unwanted sound, sound that when you hear it it becomes unbearable for your body. So anything that is unpleasant, unbearable, unwanted, it's no longer a music. It's no longer a talk. It's no longer, a palatable sound. It becomes a noise. And how do we measure noise? Noise are measured in decibels. All right, dB. They are measured in decibels. To everybody working, especially if you're working with in a factory where there are machines, production lines, there are thresholds of noise that you're exposed to, and there are PPTs that you're supposed to be wearing so that you don't damage your ear. So the range of sound that human can, hear, can perceive or hear. So according to the Canadian standard, it shouldn't be more than 90 decibels. Anything above 90 decibels, then it is unacceptable. So during this time, hearing response conditional on three characteristics. Um, when you're measuring the noise level and how it affects human hearing, you can measure the frequency of the noise, duration the worker is exposed to the noise, and how loud is the noise. So these are the three characteristics and areas we measure when it comes to noise. Now, there are noise, just like radiation, there are noise that are acceptable, there are noise that are not acceptable. If you look at the meter here, all right, from 0 to up to 80, up to 90 is fine. Anything above 19 upward is unacceptable, is dangerous, okay? So noise from playground, vacuum cleaner, washing machine, all of these are okay. So from drill, you see that it's not okay. Chainsaw, pneumatic drill, shotgun, fagon, plane takeoff, blast. All of these are dangerous noise, okay? So sometimes your headphone, some of you put headphone on, if you turn it too loud, it can become more than 90 decibels. And when it's more than 90 decibels, it can affect your eardrum. So sometimes some of you go to discotheque and clubs, and the sound of boom, bat, boom, boom. Some of I remember in those days, when you nearly get a car and you want everybody to know that you just got a Mercedes, and how do the neighborhood know? By me playing, you know, Tupac, everybody, that kind of noise. So not knowing that we're actually harming our eardrums. So same thing with alarm. Alarm decibels between 90 to 120. Discotheque 85 to 115. Uh, Headphone Walkman 70 to 100. 100 is the high side. Okay, traffic is okay. 50 to 90 decibels. Classroom is between 40 to 80, and whisper is between 30 to 80 decibels. So the violet one are irreversible. It can cause irreversible damage. The red, harmful sound, yellow, harmful threshold, and green means no risk. So according to the meter we have here. So that's why it's very important, to always protect our ears. So let's any question on this? Radiation, noise. Any question so far?
I have a question.
Yes.
It was just for the personal meter. You said that it works for ionizing radiation. Does it also work for non-ionizing radiation?
Sorry, I can't hear you very well. Can you speak a bit clearer and louder?
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me now?
Okay, I think it's better.
Does the personal meter, does it also work for non-ionizing radiation?
Yes. Okay, you're talking about dosimeter? This one?
Yeah.
So it works for both ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. It measures all radiation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other person? So, how do we know? What are the early signs that noise is damaging somebody's eardrum? So, early warning chain, like a deterioration of hearing in the upper frequency, the earliest detectable sign of noise induced hearing loss. So here, how do you know somebody's been affected by noise? So, for instance, if you have a friend who is always listening to loud music and everybody's complaining around him or her that, hey, this music is too loud. And it's like, no, it's just normal, right? So be careful. You have to advise the person to go to the doctor, because what seems abnormal to all of you seems normal to him or her. then something is wrong. You know that the person is gradually losing his or her hearing. So at that early stage, it's better to see the doctor for corrective purposes than to keep damaging the eardrum until um, there won't be it will be irreversible. So, and of course, it's the same thing that happens within the industrial sector where people are exposed to noise, to certain equipment or machine that can make enough noise and disturb people's hearing. If there's constant exposure to frequency of noise, to duration of noise, longer duration within the frequency of noise, and all right, the loudness of noise, it can actually affect. Although we still come into control, so maybe you might want to ask, oh, we need to control PPE and all of that. We'll get there. So type of hearing loss. We have noise can cause one, somebody who is losing or who has lost his or her hearing can face physiological damage, excuse me, to the hearing. That is, total damage to the cochlea, to the eardrums, including the auditory nerves in the ear. So we also have some more general psychological or physiological effects, such as sociological hearing loss. Sociological hearing loss, and we have psychological effects. So all of this can be a side effect of or signs that the person has lost his hearing. All right. So what does it mean? Each of these, we're going to look at them one after the other. Physiological damage, sociological hearing loss, and psychological effects. So let's talk about physiological damage. So under physiological damage, we have conductive hearing loss, where restricts transmission of sound to cochlea and inner ear. So most times, people that go through physiological damage are they face organ damage, tissue damage, all right, within the ear, tissue damage, cell damage, organ damage. So most times, if you look at the picture here, this is the outer ear. Sound passes through here. This is the eardrum, and there's this three bones. All right, we call them the smallest bone in the body. For those of you that still remember your biology, the armor, the anvil, and I've forgotten the other one. So these three bones, they make vibration. Once the sound, hits the eardrum, they make the vibration. The vibration travels through the cochlea, okay, and pass the message to the auditory nerves. It is this auditory nerves that passes the message to the brain. So the brain will interpret the sound and, of course, will react. We react to the sound, whether it's good music. Once we hear the music, it travels through the route to the brain, and the brain will interpret the meaning of the music, and that is where you can recognize, oh, that's good music. It's Drake singing. It's Justin Bieber singing. It's Aaliyah singing. It's Rihanna. All of those musicians. The same thing with bad sound or unwanted sound as well. So our sensorineural hearing loss, which is related to nerves, okay, nerve deafness. It affects the cochlea and usually irreversible. So if, for instance, we have a very great noise like bomb blast can damage eardrum, all right, damage eardrum. And of course, once the eardrum is damaged, it does not pass any sound for these bones to vibrate. All right, it goes directly, and this bones does not vibrate. And if there is no vibration, there's nothing to pass through, no vibration to pass through the cochlea, and of course, the nerves cannot pick anything. So the brain does not interpret anything, and that is where you know deafness come into place. All right, or sometimes the auditory nerves can also be very weak to not be able to interpret or carry the message to the brain. All right. And we also have some other ones, I don't want to go into medical field now, where the brain is unable to interpret the sound and all of that. So I'll leave it at that. Um, so noise, more general physiological effects. Start to respond to a loud, unexpected noise. If there is a loud noise, there are two things. Of course, people will always be in panic mode based on the perception or risk interpretation or risk perception of the sound. So let's say, for instance, God forbid, maybe there's a bomb blast, boom. You know, you're gonna you're gonna feel it. You're gonna be scared. It's going to cause your blood to be running very fast. Your heartbeat will be very fast. Boom, boom, boom. All right, that is cardiovascular problem. All right, it can also cause neurologic problem where all your neurons, everything becomes abnormal because of fear. Endocrine releases cortisols, fear. All right, to be in a flight mode or biochemical changes within your body because of that unpleasant sound. So all of this can cause emotional, cardiovascular, neurological problem to the to the body system. And in some cases, it has also been established that unwanted sounds can also cause nausea, malaise, and headache. All right, headache where you feel like this sound is too much, it's causing me headache, or malaise like maybe fever like you know um feelings, or nausea, where you begin to have drop, like a cold droppings from your nose. Um, Physiological, psychological effects of noise. So, resulting disturbance by certain sound that are not loud enough to present any serious psychological problems. So, there's what we call selective hearing. So, selective hearing comes where you have multiple sounds coming to you at the same time. Maybe they are not all disturbing at the same time, but your ear is able to pick out of those multiple sounds the one that creates some kind of fear or disturbance to you. Then that can bring about emotional or psychological effects. So imagine where you're watching. I think this. Let's use this example. A patron talking during a movie, helicopter flying overhead, or a tap dropping. So all at the same time, let's assume you're hearing all of this, okay? And maybe helicopter flying overhead, maybe overhead your house is what out of the three is what your ear selectively pick and interpret to your brain. At that point, you're panicking. You look outside. What is happening? Is the FBI looking for somebody? Is helicopter private or police? So that is what we call selective hearing. What is selective hearing? Um, it's a kind of hearing, you know, that is based on where your hair picks, the preferred noise or sound and interpret it in a way that you like or that you don't like based on your fear or on your on your passion. So that is selective hearing. So if, for example, it's your brain interprets what your ears are picked, in a negative way, it can cause psychological effects like maybe stress, right? Stress, sometimes anxiety. Let's say, for instance, an helicopter flying, and what's happening? You just quickly run outside, you're panicking, what's going on? So at that point, that sound, that noise that your ear has picked or selected has created a little bit of anxiety, and that's why you run out to check what's going on with you. So sometimes we have noise or multiple noise, and if it's not managed, it can actually cause us psychological effects, all right? Anxiety, stress, all right, distress, and all of that. Do we have any question on selective hearing? Okay. Still on noise, type of hearing loss, we have indication of exposure to excessive noise level. Sometimes when you see this one is even very, very common, the tinnitus. Sometimes when you're exposed to noise, when you get out of the place, you will be hearing some sound of echoing in your ear. All right. I know even without noise, sometimes we do feel that. I know some of us do feel some kind of echoing noise in our ear, like it will be sounding as if have you ever witnessed a TV station without network? Or maybe you're just watching a TV station and there's just a blank and there's this noise like, oh, to just be sounding like that. Then we also have raising volume on radio or TV station. Too much noise. I think I mentioned something like this earlier. Some of us go for discotheque, clubhouses, you buy a new car, you're raising the volume of the music. All of this can cause hearing loss. So early warning change include the deterioration of hearing in the upper frequency. We've also mentioned that earlier, where people will not be able to hear normal sound like every other person. So recommend whosoever worker is going through that to the doctor for early checkup. Then the earliest detectable sign of noise-induced hearing. I think I've also mentioned that earlier. So type of hearing loss, we have temporary threshold shifts, which is like gradual hearing loss. It doesn't happen boom at once. It's happened gradually. So this one is reversible. Excuse me, if you observe somebody who cannot hear very well due to the due to exposure to abnormal noise, so quickly observe, take the worker out of the noisy place. We can also manage through rotation, and let's recommend the person for checkup, and can also sometimes be reversed by removal from the noise. Always remove the employee from the noise, or you can give the person PPE, so that the person for the employee is protected. Then we have the one that's irreversible. That is called permanent threshold shift, the PTS. So these are caused by loud noise, like any noise that is more than 90 decibels. Hearing disability that is permanent and may not be correctable. All right. So top on the list of the noises, blast. Sometimes we've seen soldiers that go, that are deployed to war front, and they come back, and one of the ears they cannot even hear any sound, and it's damaged. If you speak to them, they will have to put the other ear, or they get a hearing aid, to support their hearing. So how do we control noise? Remember, I'm still talking about physical agents. So the first agent we talked about was radiation. Under radiation, we have ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. Then we're talking now about noise. All right, type of noise, signs of early loss hearing. And now we are now at noise control. How do we control noise? So we can control noise by measuring the noise exposure standards. We have noise exposure standard, and we also measure noise in Canada. All the provinces um, does not support exposure more than 90 decibels in Canada. Noise exposure test equipment. So we have, just like we have a radiation dosimeter, we have three type of equipment that we use to measuring noise. Excuse me. We have the sound pressure level meter. The sound pressure level meter, which is used to measure gross noise level. We have octave band analyzer. We use that to measure noise frequency. Okay, and we have audiometer, which is an instrument to measure the sensitivity of workers' hearing, whether the person is still hearing very well or not. So audiometer will be able to tell us the level of hearing loss and the level of sensitivity of the worker to noise. All right, so noise control. Let's talk about how we control noise. That is one area that is very interesting. Remember last year, sorry, I said last year. Last class, we talked about the source, path, and human control. So one of the ways we can control noise is from the source. All right, it's from the source. So you have a loud, loud machine equipment that is making noise. You can do engineering control from the source by creating um, a noise-proof, a soundproof guard, a house, a soundproof, you know, uh, guard or house, to reduce the noise. A noisy machine may be quieter when adding sound-absorbing materials, and we can also, place vibration padding. All right, that is when you have a house that is padded with noise proof. Redesigning the operation so that the machine performs differently. We can, revamp the machine, re-engineer the machine that it doesn't make much noise like it used to. That is lower than 90 decibels. We also have isolating machine in a separate room or sound deadening enclosure. So you can remove the machine to somewhere that is far away, if it's possible, to be far away from where people are. That will reduce the noise exposure, and also purchasing a new one. So when you're purchasing a new one, that is replacement. So all of these are how we control noise. So we can also control noise from the path. So from the path, we can control noise by moving workers away from the sound or the source of the sound, or creating a kind of barrier between the noise and the worker. So that is where, the more we withdraw workers from the noise source, all right, so the lower the noise and the lower the effect on the worker or the exposure of the worker to the noise. So as the distance from the sound source is doubled, the noise level will also drop by a fixed amount of decibels. And we also have attenuation, which is the reduction of noise at one location compared with another farther from the source. So the process of attenuation is all about withdrawal. The more you withdraw from noise, the lower it becomes. So it's just a very practical example. Let's say you're working with a machine. The more you get away from the machine, the lower the sound. All right. The more you get closer, the higher the sound. So that process is called attenuation. Okay, so we've done source, path, and human control. So you can control the sound or the noise from human, by giving them personal protective equipment, like here, no, sorry, earmuffs and hair nodes. We have least costly and mostly commonly used. They are most commonly used as PPE. Though it might not be the best method, but many companies prefer to use that. Other types of control under human include job rotation, where you rotate employees from one job to another, so that it's not only one person that is exposed to the noise at all time. Through shifts, and job rotation, we have relocation, we have isolating the worker from the machine or from the equipment that is noisy. We also have automating the system. Instead of exposing human being, you can allow the robots to do it. The robots are not human, so they'll be able to withstand the noise without any side effects on the path. And we also have rest period. Create a rest period where every employees are exposed, and they should not be exposed beyond that certain number of hours per day or per time to the noise. Okay, maybe you can say, okay, every machine should be shut down every 4 hours, go for break, then come back again. We have site design, the way you design your sites, you know let that be maybe isolation or padded housing for noisy equipment. So take a look at this picture here. The lady is working with, on the machine that is noisy, and of course she's putting on a PPE. What kind of PPE is she putting on? What's this called? It's called the earmuffs. Earmuffs. Okay. Now, when you're selecting as HR people, when you're selecting personal protective equipment for your worker, you have to look at the convenience. Okay, it must not be too heavy. It must be the worker's size. You need to measure the size and exact size of the ear or whatever PPE it is. It must be their size. It must be comfortable. You have to look at the ergonomics, all right, and you have to look at the cost as well. Something that is affordable, not something that will be too expensive. So that is all about noise. Any question about noise before we go to vibration?
Um, I was going to ask from an HR perspective, when an
Yeah.
employee gets ear damage, is it, I mean, whether or not it's, permanent right away, but when they do get damage, will it always degrade or can it be stopped? I don't think it can be reversed, but can it be stopped, or do you know what the stats are for that from an HR perspective? Like, so that you don't
So
want to see what I'm
can you
asking.
give me like can you give me a very good example so that we are not talking just like with constructs. Let's make it practical for everybody to understand, and for give me like a scenario.
Well, you're working in an industrial machine shop or
Okay.
in a steel plant. My father worked in a steel plant,
Okay.
and they would have to wear stuff, but sometimes people would still get damage to they would get damage to their ears. And my question is, from an HR perspective,
Okay.
once somebody has damage, regardless that the procedures were followed or not, which is an issue, but
Yeah.
can can do you know from statistics
Yeah.
if the damage can stop if you do the proper things, or do they have to be completely removed from excess noise, and doesn't matter the personal protective gear you wear,
Yeah.
you're done or you'll lose your
Uh,
hearing?
okay. So thank you very much, Michael, for that wonderful question. Question. So number one, remember we talked about workers' compensation the other time, and we said it's a no fault policy. So number one, any worker who faces hearing loss and is discovered will be removed from direct contact with the noise source. That's number one. Number two, the person will have to go through medical checkups and all. At that time, the person is going through temporary disability, which will be taken, which will be taken care of by the workers' compensation insurance. And of course, the result of the doctor will determine whether the person will return back to work there or whether the HR will now have to accommodate the person by giving alternatives or moving the person to another job that is less noisy. It's part of providing or offering reasonable accommodation. So far, the accommodation will not cause undue hardship on the employee. Oh, sorry, on the company rather, or the employer. I
Okay.
hope you understand what I said.
Yes.
Okay, great. Any other question? Okay, so let's continue. So we're done with noise. Let's go to vibration. You see, we started with radiation, noise, now vibration. So what is vibration? Vibration is oscillating motion of body moving about a reference position. Okay, how do I explain vibration? Vibration. Most of you you've experienced vibration in all areas. Think of if you have ever, boarded a train. You are in a train, subway, jiggy, jaga, jiggy, jaga, jiggy. So that motion is vibration. If you have ever operated a machine, like even at home, especially the ladies, you have blenders, the kitchen equipment, the mixer. When you start your blender, you begin to feel some, vibration. That's vibration. If you operate a tractor, you sit on the tractor, that machine jumping you up and down, shaking all your body, that's vibration. So let's talk about resonance. The effect that occurs when an object reacts strongly to some particular frequency. So the way your body reacts to vibration will determine, your level of resonance. Now let's talk about health issues and health effects of vibration. So we have two types of effects. We have a segmented, or in some textbook, it's called hand and arm vibration. So these are the kind of vibration that will only affect some part of the body, especially the upper part, the hand and the arm. Vibration will only affect that part of the body. Then we have another type of vibration that will affect the whole body from head to toe. So let's say, for instance, somebody who is working in a construction company and the guy is always holding what is this called? Something hammer. The jackhammer. There's what they call the jackhammer. They use the most time when you're building, constructing roads. So exposure to that jackhammer, for a very long time can cause, health effects on the worker. Sometimes, if it's not carefully managed, it can lead to Parkinson's disease. So other health issues include inhibition of muscular relaxes, impaired and blurry vision, alteration of brain electrical activities. All of these are side effects or health effects of vibration if not managed very well. Vibration health effects, we have sore neck and shoulder muscles, especially if the vibration is from something like the jackhammer I mentioned the other time. Sore joints, where there'll be pain in all the joints. We have Raynaud's phenomenon or white fingers, where there will be loss of blood circulation to the fingers due to continuous grip or long period of grip to a tool or equipment like hammer. All right. Um, it can cause blood circulation, restriction to blood circulation in all the fingers. We have neuritis and degenerative alteration of central nervous system. Um, fragmentation, necrosis, that is death or decay of tissues. Tissues in the body. Once there's no blood flow, it begins. The tissue begins to deteriorate, and there's no life there. Of course, we have decalcification or loss of calcium to bones. Decalcification of carpal bones, loss of calcium in the bones. Then we have muscle atrophy and tenosynovitis. All right, that will affect the tendon, the bone, the muscles joining two bones together. That makes our muscles, our body to be flexible. All right, tendon. They are the ones that the, join all the bones together in the body. So when you are, going through all of those diseases, including tenosynovitis. There might be stiffness of the tendon in the body, the muscles not flexible enough. Now, all of this can be the health effects of vibration. So, what are the things? How do we control vibration? All right, as a worker, HR or health and safety professional, we need to reduce the risk of exposure of our workers. All right, by avoid the source by revising the task. Somebody who is prone to vibration diseases or health issues, we don't expose them. Use equipment that produces lower vibration, so we can replace it. We can substitute our equipment with the less vibrating ones. Also add dampening devices to equipment to reduce vibration. All right, guard it with um, padded materials that can reduce vibration. Maintain equipment properly so that once it's serviced, it works properly and it doesn't vibrate like heavily. Decrease workers' exposure time. So maybe they are not supposed to handle vibrating machine more than 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day. Do not let it pass that. Then isolate the worker from the source of the vibration. Isolation. So we're done with vibration. We've done also with noise and radiation. Let's go to stress, thermal stress. So when you talk about thermal stress, you're talking about hot and cold temperature extreme coupled with high humidity. We have homeostasis or thermal homeostasis. That is, you're talking about heat. All right, heat. Most of the people that work in heat area are people work in furnace, work in bakery, work in places that are hot, including hot weather. So thermal stress, we have conduction, convection, and radiation. So conduction is when two surfaces are in contact. Okay, your skin contact or touch with hot stove, hot pots, hot, or it can cause burn. We have convection, which is almost like conduction, but this one, what surface had heat to the surrounding, like when your body is blocking the vents that is producing heat or heater in the house. If you stay too long there, you begin to feel the heat, and if you don't remove your body, you feel burn. All right, so that is convection or convection. Then we have radiation. Radiation is, of course, we've done radiation before. When energy is transmitted through electromagnetic waves, all right, electromagnetic waves like ionizing radiation from ultraviolet ray. Exposure to sunlight. Too much sunlight can cause burn, and that is also categorized under. That's why it's categorized also under thermal stress. So you might want to be asking, oh, why is radiation standing alone and is also reflecting under thermal stress? Because part of radiation falls under thermal stress, like the sunlight. So exposure to sunlight can cause burn, and it's also under. That is why it's labeled under thermal stress. Okay, so what do we do? Let's talk about how human body works. In the textbook, human body is considered or likened to be like a machine, that produces things, that is responsible for production. So what is production? The ratio of input to output. So in human, what are the inputs for you to get output? The input is you eat food, you breathe in air and water. So all of this, help human, to regulate the energy within, produces energy and heat through metabolism. And of course, output energy. That is when you have power to sit, stand, run, walk, do everything through push-ups. So without eating food, water, and air, you will not be able to convert those sources of energy into energy within you to be able to give output energy. All right. During the metabolic system, there is heat. Heat rejects to environment through um, breathing out of carbon CO2. When you breathe in air, you breathe out carbon dioxide, and of course, through the sewage that we pass out, of course, the heat is emitted as well through manure. So thermal stress. So what are the health uh, issues that are related with too much hotness? People who are exposed to too much hotness, we have heat edema, where the body begins to swollen, swollen body because of exposure to heat. We have heat rash, heat rash. We have heat cramps, where there is not enough blood flow because of heat. Then we have heat stroke. All of these are part of the heat related illnesses. So, according to National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health in the United States, it divides two levels of heat stroke. We have classical heat stroke and exceptional heat stroke. So let's talk about cold exposure to cold environment, the hypothermal stress. People work in very cold environments. So think of workers who work in a cold room, where there is frozen food, big cold room where there are fish, different ice, they work there all day. So this kind of workers can be exposed to, hypothermia. So risk factor for cold-related illness. So one, age. The more you grow older, the less you should be exposed to such jobs. And that's why even people like seniors are not supposed to be exposed to too much cold. Gender can sometimes cause it, maybe there is this perception that male gender can, withstand more than female. Fatigue, diseases, health conditions. All right, consuming drugs and alcohol, smoking, all of these are risk factor for cold-related illnesses. So people who are into um into smoking, drugs, alcohol might be vulnerable to some cold-related diseases. Then we have non-freezing temperature above freezing mark injuries, example like chilblains. So if you're exposed to freezing temperature or cold temperature, but they are not freezing, it can cause some all simple tingling and like chilblains. But if it is high, extreme cold weather, extreme cold can cause frostbite and frost nips. All right, and that is deadly. If you don't know frostbite, you can Google frostbite and see how the picture looks like. If you're able to look at it. So, the last page we have here is talking about the signs and symptoms of hypothermia. Hypothermia means extremely cold weather. So we have mid hypothermia, moderate hypothermia, and severe hypothermia. And the signs and symptoms are for mild, normal shivering, and cold sensation. Sometimes you can also feel goose bumps. For moderate hypothermia, shivering will come into place, intense muscle pain. Sometimes it's very easy to have movement, stumbling nose, confusion, and of course, violent shivering. All right, even speaking will be sluggish, and of course, um, unable to use hands. Then the severe hypothermia, of course, at that point, the skin will begin to turn blue, and sometimes you have puffy nose, very poor breathing, inability to walk, confusion, incoherent behavior, rigidity of muscles, and semi consciousness at that point, stupor, loss of awareness, loss of pulse and respiration, rate will decrease, possible heart fibrillation, unconsciousness. All of these are pulmonary edema, cardiac respiratory failure, death. All of these are health signs and symptoms of severe hypothermia. So now, things to go or to remember, we have thermal stress, hypothermia, too hot, hypothermia, too cold. So we must not be exposed to too hot condition or too cold condition. All right. At all times, we must always um, prevent this through all the control measures that we mentioned, and of course, always train employees to know how to manage all of these situations so that they are not exposed or they are not ignorantly exposed to workplace accident. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to tell you that we've come to the end of today's lecture. Any question? Any question? Can you hear me? Saeed.
Hi, yes, I have a question. It's not
Okay.
about today's lecture, but I just
Oh,
noticed,
okay.
on the grade book that I got is 0 on the test
Okay.
2. So yeah, because I came a bit
It's not.
late today.
Wait, Saeed. It's not something I can be explaining in the public. This is kind of personal to you, right?
No, actually, the
So
question is that the due date is in 2024 for the test 2. This is my question because we haven't done the test 2 yet. It shows in 2024 the due date for test 2. Maybe there is an issue or something.
I don't know which one you're talking about yet.
Test 2.
So
We
Wait.
did the test one.
Hello, Said. I've not gotten to test issue. I'm still talking about the, you want to hold on a little while I check what you're talking about. Okay. And please calm down because I can see that you are getting agitated. All right. So let me check what you're talking about while I still answer questions about the lecture I just finished. Okay.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I'm calm. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Don't get agitated. Okay.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I can feel that in your sound.
Oh, maybe my mic is a bit closer to my mouth. I'm cold, so no worries. Yeah, sorry for that if you don't mind that.
Okay. Is there any other question? Okay. If there are no other questions, so back to what you asked me. I'm just trying to check right now. So the reason why you're seeing a zero is that I've not released the. I'm not supposed. Okay, you're not supposed to be seeing that test at the moment because I've not finished setting all the dates. So the reason why you're seeing a zero is because the date was showing past dates. All right, it was showing 2024, and because it's showing 2024, it will be showing automatic zero. All right, um, that is the reason you're saying zero. Okay, so um, that will be fixed. So that's why I said you shouldn't be too agitated about it. Excuse me. But of course, according to our critical path, we're going to have test two this week. Okay, so I'm trying to see right now. So the reason you're saying is zero is because it's showing 2024, which is the past date, which has not been reset for the purpose of this class. Okay, so once you check it now, I think you should be okay. You should be okay with that. Okay, you want to check now and let me know if you still have any concern. Okay, good. So we have actually test this week, test two, according to our critical path. And just as usual, the test is going to run for 1 week, but it's set for 60 minutes. I think, yeah, for the purpose of those who are going through, who have accommodation, who have submitted accommodation. So it accommodates everybody to be able to finish less than 20 questions. Yes, within 60 minutes, which is 1 hour. So let me confirm. It's 15 questions. 15 questions, 60 minutes. So that is way, 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 way okay for everybody, regardless of their accommodation request. Okay, so that being said, I've forgotten that I don't take attendance for online classes. All right, so let me stop sharing. Yes, Michael.
I think that I just checked my test on my Blackboard, and it says test two. The due date is, if I'm reading it right, January the 9th, and it says past due. So I think that there might be mine and a few others based on the comments that it's still not fixed. I mean, we understand that it's just a technical thing because we know we haven't had the test yet. So I'm just letting you know.
Okay, so what about the date? I didn't get your
The
the
date
comment
that
there.
says
Are you saying the date is still not correct?
yes, it's changed. Before it was I think before it said June the 9th, 24. Now it says the due
Yeah,
date is
yeah,
January.
exactly. Yes, exactly. So it was because it was showing 2024. That is why it's grading everybody 0.
Yeah,
So I had to change that to 2025. So sorry about that. So
yeah, and
everything
I'm
is
just
okay now.
yeah, no, and I'm just letting you know that in
Yeah.
mine it says January the 9th, 2025.
Uh-huh.
So
Exactly.
it's the wrong month, I think, because if Sunday, I'm looking at my calendar, Sunday is February the 9th. So that's what I think it should say,
Okay, yes. It's supposed to be February the 9th, not even January the
right?
9th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, and
So
we
yeah,
understand.
it's supposed to be February the 9th.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries. I just yeah.
Yeah. So yes. Yes. Now everything should be okay.
Okay, we'll just check it for you from our end.
Yeah, please check and let's see.
Yes.
Alma,
Now it's
everything
Sorry.
seems okay, right?
Sorry, I raised my
Yes,
hand by
Alma.
accident. I raised my hand by
Okay,
accident.
bye.
so,
Okay.
so now it has the right date and it says the status is unopened. So you haven't opened the test yet. I'm just letting you know.
Yes, I will. I will open it.
Okay, no, just that's great. Thanks
The
for
status is not open. It should be open. Okay.
here. Let
Hold
me click on
on.
it.
No,
Oh,
it's
okay,
open.
I haven't opened it. I
You can
apologize.
do it right away. It's open.
Yeah,
It's
no,
open.
okay. No, oh,
Yes, you can
sorry.
do
I
it right away.
apologize. I
No
misread.
problem. So you have your time. Do it at your convenient time. Anytime from now till Sunday. All right. Just take about 30 to it shouldn't take more than 30 minutes for any person, except you are very slow, you have accommodation issues. So I've also factored all of that in. And I've also want everybody to be comfortable doing the exam, the test, and of course, there's no reason for you to fail this course, like I used to say. So it, mine is set. Crystal, okay, yeah, good to go. I wish you all the best, Crystal. So and
What
let's
other
see
question?
what's. Do you have another question?
Yeah, just to double check this test. What is it? All the chapters? Is it a cumulative, or just chapter 4 and 5?
So basically chapter 4 and 5 with a bit of maybe 1 and 2. But yeah,
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
majorly on
Thank you.
4 and 5. Yes, majorly on 4 and 5 with a bit of touch from 4. So it's just about 15 questions. 15 questions, 1 hour. You guys are lucky. Sahid, and I apologize for the agitated. No, never mind. That's okay. That's okay. I understand. Don't worry. I know you don't want to score 0. You can't feel my cause, okay? So I wish you guys all the best and have a productive week. If you have any question, please send me email or just send me emails through Blackboard and I'll reply within 48 hours. So I wish you all the best in your test. Till we meet again next week. Au revoir. Have a good one. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.